My name is Avril, so if this is your first time joining the Trend Micro Internet Safety Talks, this is the third of a series of 3, but don't worry, it's not like you need to be at the other 2. And the other 2 are actually on our website as well on the events page. If you just scroll down, you'll see them. So the first one was a general introduction. The second one was about social media and gaming. And tonight's one is about time online and dealing with screen time challenges. And I've been working with Trend Micro for the last 20 years nearly. I have 2 children. One is 11 and the other is 15. And, you know, the challenge is real for us all. And particularly when it comes to screen time and the week that's in it and next week with kids off school and the weather not being so great, it definitely poses a lot of challenges for parents right across the country. And it's great that the fact that you're here with me tonight, you're probably feeling the same as me. And so Trend Micro, for those of you who've never heard of Trend Micro, it's a global cybersecurity company. Trend Micro is one of the largest in the world and has been around for over 33 years. And being experts when it comes to security online, it's just really important to us that we give back to our communities all around the world. So that's where the Internet Safety for Kids and Families program was born about 12 years ago now. And I report to my boss, Lynette, who's based in the US. And for 12 years, we've been training employees and we've been working with organizations all around the world, delivering these talks in multiple languages all around the world. So we've reached 3.1 million children, adults, parents all around the world over the past 12 years. And we keep on going. Everything that we do is free. And we are just very passionate about getting information to those who need the information most. So that's the Internet Safety Program, and that's who Trend Micro is. And I think that, technology is evolving at such a pace. Every day there's something new. Every hour there's something new. And if you look at the billions of people online all the time, actually Internet Stats is a great website to look at who's online right now on what different devices and apps that are out there. And kids are on them and they're quick to adapt. And often us adults are a little bit, well, unless we're really into the tech and waiting for the next newest thing to come out, we just want to know what is out there and how do we need to protect our kids who seem to be fearless and enjoying it, their experience online. And, 65% of us worry, as parents, we worry that they're online too much. And that's from the Digital Wellness Lab, Boston Children's University Hospital. And you'll hear a lot more. A lot of the information I'm going to talk about tonight is from the Digital Wellness Lab. And, some of the questions that I think I'm hoping you probably may be asking yourself already are things like, how long are they supposed to be online every day? At what age? Is it different times for different age groups? How do I avoid turning the time online into the forbidden fruit? And how do I get devices out of the bedroom? If I decide, okay, it's time now for these to be no longer in the bedroom. What's the right age for a phone? And what if I say no and they keep on asking? And that's when you say no to something and they just keep on asking. So they're just a few of the questions I'm going to tackle in the next hour. And this webinar is an hour long. And afterwards, anyone who stays on, if you've got questions, I'm going to stay here with Ella and Suzanne and we'll answer those questions for you. I just had a question from Martin to say that they can only see Ella. So there should be a possibility on your device to change the view. So go to gallery view. Now, for the purposes of sign language, Ella is spotlighted for this. Maybe, Ella, we can remove the spotlight just while we're not sharing slides. Would that be okay? I might just remove the spotlight for those who can, so that you can see the 2 of us. When I start sharing the slides, you'll only see Ella. And that's it's one of the restrictions of Zoom, unfortunately. When the recording comes out, in order to make sure the Irish Sign Language is visible with Ella, we have to have Ella or Suzanne spotlighted at all times. So you'll see the slides when I share them, and Ella or Suzanne only, you won't see me. So I hope that's okay, Martina and Martin and Anne, that we're asking those questions there. Okay, so there's some of the questions that I'm hoping that you're probably thinking about yourself already. But I'm going to use the science from the Digital Wellness Lab, the research and practical information, so that at the end of this this webinar, at the end of this webinar, you're going to feel like, you might know all the answers yet still, but you know where to go, and you know what the really important things are when it comes to screen time and your kids online. And that's the most important thing. You know where to go to get help when you need it. And that's what this session is all about. So if you look at the CyberSafe Kids, their recent report from last September is that 93% of Irish kids between the ages of 8 and 12 own their own device. And that's phenomenal if you look at maybe even 10 years ago and the statistics back then. And it's quite indicative of time online and how much we're all online. And yes, COVID definitely fast-tracked that. Young people had to be online for schoolwork. Schools had to convert their curriculum into an online platform for several months at a time. Okay, so now people can't see the interpreter, my apologies. I'm going to just spotlight for everyone again. I'm going to spotlight Ella, and my apologies, Maria. So I'm sorry, everyone. I tried. I thought I could fix it with my minimal knowledge of technology, but unfortunately we have to spotlight Ella for the recording. Okay, but if you go into your settings and gallery, you should be able to change that gallery view, and you should be able to see the two of us. So have a try of that. Okay, so yes, 93% of kids 8 to 12 in Ireland own their own devices. And if you look at what Dr. Rich says from the Digital Wellness Lab in Boston Children's Hospital, he's saying that 9 hours a day is the amount of time that teens from the age of 13 to 17 are online a day. That's 9 hours. And if you talk to young people around that age group, teens, more than half them feel that they're actually online too much. So with that in mind, we need to start, first of all, by thinking about the term screen time. Now, I called it screen time because we all know what screen time means. So this webinar was called Dealing with Screen Time Challenges, because it is what it is. But we actually have to start looking at screen time in a different way. We need to focus more on quality time online. And here's why. Screen time, the word screen time even, it was invented when the telly was out, back in whenever, It was all about, our kids are on the telly, looking at the telly too much, they have too much screen time, and then there was screen time rules and so on. Fast forward to today, you've got kids with Fitbits, you've got kids and looking at the app to see what steps they're doing. You've got them reading their Kindles, listening to music on their devices, doing their homework. You have them chatting to friends and family. You have them watching Netflix, Disney, Amazon, Apple, all of them. Then you have them gaming and chatting to friends on, Xbox and PlayStation and so on. And even on their devices, all the various gaming apps. And then young people with disability, assisted technology is amazing. So screen time is really important and a critical part of everyone's daily life, whether it be for school, for social, for communication, for learning, for so many things. So if we focus more on quality time online and not get so hung up on quantity, we're on the right track with our kids. I hope that's really important. Quality over quantity. And it's very easy to get hung up on it, especially on a day like today. If you're anything like me, I'm working from home today. I came into the office tonight to just be sure the Wi-Fi worked. But the kids are at home. It's raining outside. We live in a dangerous road. They can't go for a walk unless I drive them. I actually got rid of the trampoline. It was falling apart. Can't even send them out with the trampoline. And there's only so many fields they can walk in, and it's a challenge. So Therefore, it's important that when they're online, we know that they're doing quality things online. Whether it's, it could be researching something they're really interested in. So they could be an avid swimmer or love archery or tennis, or they may have a really important hobby, whatever that is, that they can look it up online. And, that they can, I'm just going to check there now. Ella, your screen has frozen on me. So I'm just wondering, Suzanne, are you able to, I don't know if it's me or if it's just Ella.
I think it's just Ella, so
okay. You might just swap over. Okay.
Swap over now. Yeah.
Listen, best laid plans. There's always something with technology. So, with screen time, focusing on quality versus the quantity of time online, we can't go far wrong, and we start from there. So I'm going to share my slides with you now, and there aren't that many slides, but this session is recorded, like I said. Please feel free to use the chat. If you've got questions, use the Q&A, and any questions, I will answer them at the end, all right? And hopefully the questions I mentioned at the start, I'll have answered those for you throughout, but if I don't, I'll answer them at the end anyway, okay? I'm just going to share my screen there now. Okay, so Suzanne is pinned, spotlighted, so that our deaf community can see Suzanne signing, and you most likely cannot see me, depending on your device. So the first thing that we need to talk about after we consider that quality is important over quantity time online, and like my kids at home today, knowing that they are spending their time doing quality things online gives me a sense of comfort, that I know that, look, they're learning stuff, they're doing whatever, they're doing things that are good for them and of benefit to them. And that is a sense of comfort for me, and they're not just mindlessly scrolling, they're being creative. My daughter loves creating videos, editing videos. She uses a lot of software and editing tools. And my son loves researching loads of different things. So he's always into different things, researching it. And obviously on a wet, rainy day like today, when they're stuck at home, chatting to their friends and gaming with their friends is a good one as well. And that's okay. And that's important too, so that they can stay connected. The relationship and tech tools. The entire webinar is focused on these two areas. And I'm going to start, first of all, by talking to you about the relationship you have with your child. And, for this webinar, you don't have to be tech savvy. You don't have to be, in any way up to speed with the technical world to follow this. And this is really important, the relationship you have with your child. And then afterwards, tech tools. So technology complements you and the relationship you have with your child. It complements everything you and your child do online. And so,
Avril, can I just check there with you? I think there's a message to say that somebody can't see the interpreter. I think as far as I know, the spotlight is on me.
That's an old one.
Oh, is it an old one? Okay, sorry, my apologies for
interrupting.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. It's good. It's good. They can see you now. Thanks, Suzanne. So where was I? Oh yeah, the relationship. So with tech tools, they're there to complement you online and your children online, so that the relationship is the most important thing, and they're there. There's so many good tech tools. I'm going to go into that in more detail. So I'm going to just get started with the relationship, okay? And the first thing you need to do when it comes to the relationship with your child is to discuss rules. Now, obviously, when it comes to rules and a 2-year-old, you're not going to be discussing rules with a 2-year-old, 3, 4, 5. What you're going to be doing is you're going to be setting them for them. You're going to be using the tech tools so that you know what they're on, and how long they're on it for, and when they're on it, and you'll know everything, where they're on it, within your line of vision. You need to see them at all times, and with whom. Now, from the ages of 2, 3, 4, 5, they won't be with talking to anybody unless it's a family chat group and you're saying hello to somebody. It could be Skype with family far away and so on. And that's the extent of it. And, you know, it's really important that for those age groups, and if you look, I'm going to share a link afterwards, it's called the Digital Wellness Lab. It's absolutely fantastic resources. And the wellness guide is definitely worth looking at in more detail if you're interested in, you know, a child from 0 to 2, 3 to 5, 6 plus, 10 to 12, and teens. What should they be doing online, and, you know, how long should they be there, and so on. But just in summary, just to give you an example, if a child is under 18 months, the advice from the experts is that they shouldn't really be on it unless they're with you. And like I said, it's with the family chatting to someone abroad, and they're waving and they're interacting with the screen, and they're, you know, they're engaging with it with you when you're getting cuddles with them and so on. The attention span of a 2-year-old is 4 to 6 minutes. A 3-year-old is 6 to 9 minutes. 4-year-old is 8 to 12 minute attention span. So you'll know when they're drifting off and they're no longer interested, and it's time to give them a break from it. For things like, you know, kids, they're having tantrums, and, you know, the easiest thing would be to give them a device and something that they love to calm them down. And there'd be a word of caution on that too, because young kids, you know, they need to learn how to self-soothe and calm themselves. And if they're constantly given a device to calm themselves down, then they're not going to learn that thing naturally, that behavior naturally. So obviously, you know, everything taken with moderation, everything in moderation, and to be aware of that just. So that's just under 18 months to 2 years. 3 to 5 years, you know, they're 2 hours a day is what would be recommended by the American Pediatrics Association. And again, productive stuff, similar to up to 2-year-olds, family, friends, engagement, and interacting with them. And 6 to 9-year-olds, you know, 9 hours, from 9 years, it's 1 hour of a focus. So as children develop, their focus and attention has increased. And they would be able to focus for about up to an hour, depending on the child, obviously. So that's why when it comes to, you know, you're looking at 6 to 9 and then going up 10, 12, it's really important that you sit down with them and discuss with them what the rules are. What devices are they allowed to use? Do they have their own device? Are you ready to purchase a device for them? That's even more important, to sit down with them and talk to them about, okay, well, what do you want to use it for? Let's agree some stuff. Let's set some expectations here about, you know, how long you can be on it, what kind of things you can do on it, and some house rules, you know, like don't be on it during mealtime, you know, not an hour before bed, and, you know, how long you can be on certain things. And there's tech tools, which I'll show you later, which can really help you with that as well. But it's really important to kind of have that conversation with them about it, you know, talking about, ask them what they want and what they'd like, and then talk to them about the things that you're interested in, that you're concerned about, and that you need to look into, and why. And set it up with them then together. So it might be a communal device that you have, or it could be a new device that you're buying, but set it up together with them. And the beauty of this is that you're showing them how to get involved in technology. You know, when they come to the age of 18, 19, and they're leaving home, they're not going to have you to reset their password. So, you know, it's about showing them and having that sense of responsibility from a young age. Now, obviously, you're not going to be expecting them to change passwords at the age of 6, but just getting them into that mindset of being responsible, because, you know, at the end of the day, we want to raise children that can make responsible decisions online and offline when we're not around. So, you know, setting those rules, what they're going to do, how long they're going to be on it, who they're going to chat to, or maybe at the start they won't be chatting to anyone. And that could be a tablet. A phone might be somewhere down the line when they get that little bit older. And, you know your child best. I get a lot of questions about, well, what age should they be for a mobile phone? And, you know, it really depends on the child, their sense of responsibility. Do they lose things quickly, easily? Or are they very sensible and responsible with it? And they have to show that sense of responsibility. And that's where the trust comes in, and the relationship with you. and where you always have open conversations, discuss everything, like setting up the device, downloading the apps, going straight to the safety settings, which I've explored in the last 2 webinars that you can see the recordings on, and just going through that with them so that they understand where you're coming from. And, as a parent, it's our job and our duty to look after them, to safe keep them, online and offline. We need to make sure they're safe, and what device they're on, when they're on it, how long they're on it for, and where they're going to be on that device. All of these things are really important, and to talk to them about as well, especially the older they get. As they get towards the ages of 10 and 12 years of age, they start to be becoming more self-conscious and very conscious about how others see them as well. They may be dressing differently, talking differently, and you just notice those subtle changes. And again, from the Digital Wellness Lab, Dr. Rich explains that, it's important for them to be testing their limits, testing different things and trying things out for themselves. And they're just exploring their identity as well and who they are. But like everything else with parents, they need boundaries, and that's what parents are there for, to set those boundaries and set those rules, agreeing those rules with them in a way where they feel heard. So they may ask you for a mobile phone at the age of 7, which happened in my house, was one of them. And, the best thing to do is to just talk to them about what your concerns would be, what the reasons why you don't feel that they're comfortable to get one, or maybe you are comfortable, or maybe you want them to wait for a while, but ask them why they want it, what would they do with it. And, the fact that they're being heard and being listened to is really, really important. Acknowledging their feelings, their opinions, and what they want. And then explaining to them as their parent or guardian that it's your job to look after them, their safety, their security, their privacy, and the dangers that are out there, from people who lie about who they are online to the dangers within apps and games. So depending on their age, diluting it down, but keeping it basic with them as well, and keeping it very honest with them. So even though you might say no, they still feel heard, acknowledged, and being listened to. And, you're being practical and realistic and revisit it every now and again. And when the time does come, sit down together and then agree the rules together, set the expectations, agree some rules, and take it from there. And they need to be reviewed regularly as well. Like, for example, the rules that worked last week for my kids don't work this week. I need to extend and change things up with them because they're off and they may want to do some more things online. But the tech tools are great. So I'm going to show you those, okay? So yeah, we need to balance as parents, balance time online and offline. We need to balance the quality time online with quality time offline, and taking into consideration their mental health and their wellness. Eating, healthy eating, sleep. Kids need 10 hours of sleep at least every night, and exercise are really, really important. And these things are what we can explain to kids and explain why. And I've got a really good example of how you can do this with them as well. So just before I go off that, one of the questions in relation to mobile phones, what age should they be? And social networks. A lot of kids, so the minimum age is 13 to be on a social network. And you can tell from even, 93% of kids in Ireland under the age of 13 have their own device. And within that, we know that a lot of young children within the ages of 8 to 12 in Ireland have social network accounts, over 80% of them. And while you're supposed to be 13, fact is, there's a lot of children under 13 on it. And yes, there's a lot of misinformation and bullying and hate, and there can be a lot of dangers online with social networks and access to content that can be harmful to a young person. But if you feel that your child, there can be many reasons why you feel it's okay for your child to be on this app, on this social network, then be on it with them. Set it up together. Go to the safety settings. Go through it with them, explain it to them, and set some ground rules that you'll check in on it now and again, that you share the password with them. This has to be built on trust. It has to be about the relationship, and it has to be open communication. With the phone in particular, you may want to start off with a phone that's very basic in that they can just text you and they can just phone you, only you, and you can restrict it to just that until, that there comes a time where you feel they're responsible for the next step and you can release it to a few aunties and uncles maybe, and then release it to a few friends and so on, and slowly release it. But it's about building up that sense of trust, building up that sense of responsibility, and explaining to kids why. I think we take for granted sometimes a lot of things that kids just don't know. That sense of the importance of kindness online, of empathy, of everything that you say and type. Actually, it might actually upset somebody. You mightn't realize it, but someone else might misinterpret it, or you mightn't realize how harsh you're being. So it's really important that you have those conversations while you're setting up those rules for the phone or the social network or whatever it is, But if you've any more questions on that, we'll come back to that at the end. So where kids under the age of 10, 11, I would say that you have to see them, you have to know where they are, be able to see the device that they're on and check in on them, have them in your line of vision, because it's really, really important that you can see what they're on and hear them if they're talking to someone, and be able to intervene. No matter how much safety settings you've locked down, there can still be dangers, so it's important. And dangers, by that I mean there could be maybe the device wasn't updated, and there could be malicious software on the device, or there could be someone after infiltrating the chat. I don't mean to scare, but things happen. So just keep your eye on them. And that's why under 12, know where they are, keep check on them, and it's good to hear things, and you can follow up afterwards and say, I heard you talking about whatever, sounds great, tell me more, and show your interest in what they're doing. Because the more you talk to them, the more of a relationship you have with them, the more you play those games with them online, the more you have a social network account and you're friends with them, the more you engage, the more they know, oh, she knows what I'm doing online. It's easy to talk to her about things because she understands. And we find that, with a lot of young people that we work with, teens especially, they wish they could talk to their parents more about what they're doing online, but their parents don't understand the apps that they're on, so they can't even go there. And when we talk to parents after our parent webinar say, we'll talk to our kids a bit more. We know it's important to talk to them more about the things they're doing online and show an interest. Show them how to show you, get them to show you things, and just be there for them. And with whom, again, under 7, 8, 9, you decide who they're allowed with. My daughter comes home with, the usernames of her friends, their usernames on the games. She'll have their names written on her arm or on a bit of paper, and she'll show them to me. And she knows that the rule is you can only be friends with people online in the game that you're friends with in class. And how do you know what your friend's name is in the game? Then you ask them, you get their username, and then you friend them. So it's easy to do once you know that. So, have that understanding. People lie about who they are online, lads, and we need to be careful. So that's why you can only play and chat to people that you know in the real world. And there's safety settings to actually fix that in place as well, to give you that sense of comfort. So the 24-hour, how do you help young kids? And this is something that Dr. Rich has explained, and we've done a webinar on it as well, which is really, really good, that I'd recommend you to listen to next time you're going on a walk. How do you get young people to understand, to manage their own time? It sounds ridiculous. How are they supposed to manage their own time? But actually, from a young age, we can start teaching kids how to self-regulate online. Very young age, just gently does it. And here's how. So the first thing you do is sit down with them and get them to draw out all the things that they do in a day. In 24 hours, what do they do? So they have to sleep, they have to eat, exercise, then they have to go to school, they have homework, they might have reading to do and hobbies and sports to do. And then they may have, they have to go meet the neighbors, the friends and family, different things like that. So, they have relationships that they also have to attend to. And then they've got time left over. Now, it's not much in a busy school week, as we all know, with so much activity going on during school and after school. But the time left over is really important for young people as well. So that's why it's great to create some sort of a list with them. Well, what are the things you like to do when everything else is done? When the homework is done, you've emptied the school bag, the lunchbox, you've changed your uniform, you've had your dinner. You've done your chores. What are the things you would like to do? Okay, you want to chat with your friends and play a game, whether it be Minecraft or whatever it is, Roblox. You want to, whatever those things are, make a list. And then together with them, you can decide what they're going to do and help them. As they get older, they'll do that for themselves. But what this is doing is it's showing them the context of 24 hours. And actually, you can't be online 24 hours a day. It's just not going to work. In the grand scheme of things, there's a time and a place for everything. And while it's important to be healthy, sleeping, eating, exercise, we need to be healthy online too. And being healthy online means that we have quality time online. We're not just mindlessly scrolling on something for an hour and a half. You know, that we're doing things online where we're learning, we're benefiting in some way, whether, like I said earlier, whether it's social engagement, social interaction, having fun, playing with your friends, doing homework, researching, learning how to do things or how to improve skills already that you have. So the internet is such a massive place to do loads of things. It's great. One of the things that Trin Micro have developed since October of last year is the Cyber Academy for kids that are 7 to 10 years of age. And this is on our website too, that I sent out in the chat there earlier. I hope I sent it out in the chat. Just going to check there. No, I didn't. Would you believe that? I'm going to send it here to everybody. So this is the Dylan, sorry, no. This is the trendmicro.com internet safety app. Internet safety. And if you just go on to copy that, throw it into your browser, and this is where you'll find our events page, our webinars page, and our Cyber Academy. And particularly for the Cyber Academy, the 7th episode that we launched is called Take the Time Online Challenge. And it's exactly what I showed you on the previous slide, helping young kids identify 24 hours and how busy 24 hours is and where everything has a time and a place. And we've got some, I'll show you a little bit more later, but this is all free. It's on our website and it takes 10 to 15 minutes. You might want to show the class teacher and ask the teacher to show this, to go through it in class. And, you know, it's a great way for the teacher, 10, 15 minutes every week, a new topic, and there's a fun video and loads of stuff in there. But this is one of the fun activity sheets where they get to journal and self-reflect through this activity about what they do with their time online. So the relationship, trust, listening, open conversation, really, really important with young people. Confiscating devices, I would err on the side of caution with this, because sometimes young parents may, you know, your child comes home and, you know, you'd confiscate the device and they did something that you've discussed and they broke a rule and the device is going to disappear for a week. Young people can interpret that as never going to tell them anything again because they'll just take my device off me. Whereas the parent may feel, well, that never happened again. So that was well worth doing. So just be careful of that, be mindful of it. If they've agreed to this up front and they want you to take it away, I mean, that happens too. But you know, just err on the side of caution with that and be aware of it, because the problems really start when the talking stops and no parent wants to be in that situation. So agreeing rules together, putting that structure in place. I asked my son a while back, you know, do you feel like you're too much and spending too much time online? And he said, yeah. He's 15. He said, I do. I'm on it too much. And I said, asked him, how would that help you? Suzanne, I think Ella's after freezing again. I could be wrong.
Yeah, no bother.
Okay. Sorry about that. I just noticed there. So, you know, just after forgetting where I was there now, but agreeing the rules together and focusing on the quality versus quantity of time online, and focus on the positive uses, what are the great things that they can do online? Sorry, I just remembered my son. I asked him, well, what can be done? How could you use your time online better? And he said, well, if I had more structure, if I planned my time more, because there are things I want to do, I just do silly things instead. And I get dragged into things. And these great gaming apps and social network apps and all these things, they're there and designed in a way to keep you in there. So, there are positive uses. Help them design a plan for this week, even of what kind of things would you like to do online. Let's have a look at what's out there so that you can learn more. Prioritize what they care about. If it is archery, well, would you like to improve your bow and arrow and different techniques, or it could be tennis or swimming or, playing the violin or the guitar. There's so many tutorials online to help. Engage with them, like I said, and keep them busy. And I love this, right? Instead of get off that, it's more get on this. So don't tell them to turn it off. Let's go talk about turning something else on, as in, let's go to whatever, they're going to love it and you're going to go and do it with them. Okay, so it's quality time offline too. And help them learn to manage time. That's not an easy thing for us grown-ups at the best of times. But, questions you can ask them are things like, how will you spend your time online now that you have your device and you're off for the week? What are you going to do? What do you need from me? How can we support you? Do you need reminders? Do you need us to help you with a plan? Do you need us to, we've got some cool tools there that you can just be timed out after an hour so that you're not on something for too long. Some great apps there, especially for teens as well. For young teens, this is great. Screen time tools. I have it set up on mine. I get kicked off my device if I'm scrolling for more than 15 minutes on Instagram, I get kicked off. I've set it up that way because I tend to go into scroll and because I'm exhausted or I just need to switch off. But am I really switched off and relaxing? No, I'm not. It's not quality time. So that can be used with young people. It's a fantastic way to do it. So that's the relationship, and so important. And the tech tools are there to complement the relationship with you online and your child online. So what are they? It depends on the type of technology and devices that you have. If you have Android devices, then the Google Family Link app you can download from either your Google App Play Store, or you can also download from the Apple Store as well. So either you can download the Family Link. So even if you have an Apple device but your kids have an Android, you can download Family Link and manage their devices from your device. Microsoft Family Safety, again, if you have Microsoft devices, the same thing applies. All of these are the same. They just look different, but they do the exact same thing. And family sharing is for the iOS devices. Now, the only thing with the iOS devices, you can't if you have an Android device and your kids have iOS, you cannot monitor their devices from yours. You'd have to go into their iOS device and manage screen time directly in their device. But you can lock it down with a password that you don't share with your child. So these are the three that I'm going to explore with you. More so the iOS, because I use iOS, but I'm going to show you the Google Family Link and Microsoft Safety and what they do. But honestly, they all do the same thing. Okay, so you'll know what you're looking for. So Google Family Link, if you just go to families.google.com or just type in families Google, this is going to come up, this link for you. And it's fantastic because there's so many things you can do. So you can have a daily limit on how much time the screen literally shuts down, the device shuts down after a certain amount of time. Specific apps can shut down after a certain amount of time. You can turn it off from 7 o'clock at night until 9 o'clock the following morning every night. Now, again, I would say to discuss this with kids first and to explain why. This quality time, mental health, well-being, sleeping, eating, exercise, all those good things that we need to talk about. And you can also set it up within this so that they can only, if they want to download a new app, you have to approve it before they're allowed to download it, which is really, really good. So you're not worried about new things that are being downloaded on your child's device. And again, it's an opportunity to discuss it. So if your child comes to you and they want this new app, then it's a great way to just say, right, what is it? How does it work? Let's research it together. What do you like about it? Why do you want it? Well, let me tell you about the things I just need to check. Is it age appropriate? What are the reviews saying? Is there in-app purchases? You know, what about the safety settings? Is there any dangers I need to be aware of? What's the minimum age for someone to be on these? It can be very important as well. And you're showing them as well the art of researching, excuse me, how to research things. You're teaching them media literacy skills, you know, which are really important. So that's Google Family Link Android devices. That's the app. You just download it onto your device and you pair it with your child. They'll need a Gmail account as well. You may have to set that up if they don't have one already. And then you pair the two devices and they're literally synced. So you could be up in Dublin somewhere and your child could be at home with another parent or a childminder and they may want access to something or may need to download something. You get the request, they want more time, they want to download an app and you approve or whatever. So it's great and it's real time. The same applies to Microsoft Family Safety. They do all the same things and that's the website. Just put in Microsoft Family, it's gonna come up, okay? Google Family, Microsoft Family, Apple Family. It sets screen time limits on everything on the device, apps, all games. It filters content. So that means that, you know, there's content you don't want your kids to access, you can filter that. You can put restrictions on the type of content based on their age that they can access and within apps as well, not just on the device itself. Activity reports, so you can get a weekly activity report. I get them and I get them for my kids and it's a great opportunity to sit down and talk to them about it. What were you doing on that? You do spend a lot of time now on that. And it could be, you know, they're doing a lot of editing and, oh, can you show me some of the videos you've made? I'd love to see them. And, you know, so being involved, showing them you're interested and staying in touch with them is really, really important. And, you know, find your family. So peace of mind knowing that your family arrived somewhere without asking. It's, you know, it's similar to what I spoke about the last night on the webinar about social networks and even on Snapchat and the Snap Map and how that works and constantly being able to see it. So again, that's really good. And family sharing. So again, Apple Family, if you put that in, you get a website, a page that has everything you need to know and more. And this is the typical, you know, 2 adults and 3 kids, 3 different ages, and you can set everyone all up under Apple Family. And you can see here, you can, anything one person purchases, everyone else can share, up to 6 people. You can pay for cloud storage. So I pay €2.99 a month for cloud storage. So everything in my family, they all have iOS devices. So everything gets backed up on the cloud, meaning if I rolled over the iPad by accident tomorrow, I don't have to worry because all the stuff in it is in the cloud as well, stored. So that's really important for me in my house. And I have that stored and we share it. Location sharing. One of them loses their device or can't find it. We know where it is. You can look that up. Screen time, this is the key. Managing screen time is really, really important. And you can share music and so on. So it's really, really great. So here's mine, right? This is a screenshot of Av's mobile. And this is just, this is several weeks ago now, but this is just give you an example of my screen time. So you can see I was down 15% in activity from last week. Now I do a lot of work on this as well. Not that anyone's judging me, I'm sure, about the amount of time I'm online. But you can see here productivity and finance. So the device can actually identify what's been productive and finance. So I did some banking or what have you on the apps as well. And then social, how much time I was on social and how much time travel. So that's Google Maps. When I have to get somewhere, I won't get there unless I have Google Maps. I have a terrible sense of direction. So you can see how long I've spent everywhere. And there's also one called entertainment, which you can see I don't have. I don't have time for entertainment, but with kids, it'll come up entertainment and it'll tell you how long they've been on how many things. So how much they've been, you know, so much time on Roblox. They spent this much time on Fortnite, on Minecraft, on Fitbit app, on music, whatever it is that they're into, you'll see how much time. You can see it daily and the weekly roll up as well. So there's a huge amount of information there. And these are the kind of things with each child that you can set up. The downtime, and I'll show you on the next slide what that actually looks like, okay? So that when you're in it, you'll know yourself where to go and how to do it. But it's just to give you a visual of what you're looking at. You can set the downtime. When is their downtime that they can't access anything on their device? what limits am I going to put in for Instagram, for Snapchat, for TikTok, or maybe it's Roblox or Minecraft or whatever it is that they're on. You know, you agree with them, look, an hour is enough, right? And if you need more, look, let's talk about it, but let's just restrict it for this, or whatever you agree. Communication limits. So maybe you only want them, like I said earlier, you only want them talking to a few people. You can limit the contacts in there. And always allowed. So for example, my kids are always allowed, obviously, all their school stuff, the Google Classrooms and the seesaws, but they're also allowed music, Fitbit, you know, whatever things that we've agreed together, you know, but they're just an example. And then content and privacy restrictions based on their age, what can they access? So below their family, you can see my two kids, I just blocked them out for their privacy. But you literally go into settings on your iOS device, or the app you've downloaded for your Android, Family Link, or for Microsoft, go into safety settings, family settings, and follow it through. It's very easy to set up. So content and privacy restrictions, if you look here, if I slide it right, it means that I've got them on, and I can go into each and every one of them, and I can allow certain apps, I can ban certain apps that we've both agreed is no longer appropriate. For example, I can do so much stuff. So if you look at content restrictions, you can then decide, okay, well, you know, it's PG for TV shows, PG for movies, allow all apps or not. I think this might be a copy of my own one actually. You know, limit adult websites. So you can play with this and decide what it is. And that will filter everything on the device and limit the access that the kids have. Downtime, this is an example. You know, it's switched off from 9 o'clock at night to 8 a.m. every morning. Out of, you know, absolutely, it's not there. And, you know, I always recommend, and this is recommendations from Dr. Rich as well in the Boston Children's University Hospital, you know, an hour before bedtime, no devices. Keep them out of the devices out of the bedroom, and, you know, no device, not to be on devices an hour before bed. But you can see here, you can do whatever you want with downtime and discuss it with them, obviously. And in-app purchases, you can turn it off. Or, you know, they need to contact you and you need to provide permission every time they want to download a new app. So that's pretty much how you set it up. And just to show you one sample of TikTok, because TikTok is probably one of the most popular apps, aside to Snapchat, I guess, and Instagram and YouTube. And there's family settings and all of those as well. But for TikTok family pairing, a lot of families and parents don't know this exists. If you go into the safety family settings of TikTok, under digital well-being, you've got family pairing, where you can restrict the time that they're on TikTok and you can restrict the content that they're accessing. And all you need is your account on TikTok and your child's device on TikTok. And so 2 TikTok accounts and 2 devices, and you pair them, and you literally have a mirror image of what they're doing, seeing, exposed to, what they say and do, and so on. And if you're considering giving TikTok to your child and you feel they're of age, and you've agreed it, and that sense of trust and responsibility is there, then this may be for you. And you can discuss it with your child and say, look, let's take this slowly. I trust you. I want you to have this. I feel it's time. You know, but let's being responsible is what it's all about. Being kind, being empathetic, and, you know, making sure that you're not on it all the time. You don't use it at mealtime, you know, all those kind of rules. Set it with them and then go into it. You can set the limits, like I said, and just pair it. And just remember it's there. It's a really, really nice way. And a lot of parents don't know about this, and it's a good one to use. Just to mention that any questions being asked during this presentation, I will address at the end, just in case anyone's worried and joined late that I'm not answering your questions. I will at the end. I just want to get through the main body of the presentation, and then I'll answer any and all questions that you may have. Okay, so one of the things that I have started to use recently is Siri. And the reason why is, have any of you gone on your device to do something and 20 minutes later you're thinking, what was it? Why did I go on in the first place? I can't remember. Does that sound familiar? because it happens to me so much. I'll go in to do one thing and I see I get a new message on my WhatsApp, or I have a new message or a new email or something from the school, and I'm in there for 15 minutes before I think, well, what did I actually go in there for? So now what I do is I say, hey Siri. So for example, I have the phone Bluetoothed into my car, and I drop my kids to school, and on my way home, I have a good 30-minute drive. So I start by saying, there could be something in my head about the shopping. I need to add that. Hey Siri, create a shopping list and add this to the shopping list. Oh, Siri's just after coming on here on my device. She heard me. Hey Siri, add to the shopping list. Add sweet corn to the shopping list. She opens up the shopping list, puts it on. This is now while I'm driving, okay? I'm driving, concentrating on the road, but there could be something I just want, or you could be cooking in the kitchen and something pops into your head. Hey Siri, open WhatsApp and send a WhatsApp message to Jim. Tell him whatever. It'll audio to text. It'll text it out, Siri, and it'll send it for you. You don't have to type. And what it's doing is it's actually, you're in control of your device. You're not opening the device and seeing everything in there waiting for your attention. You're managing your device, not your device managing you. And I think this is super. And I think these things need to be used more. Now, you may decide that it's too much of a violation of your privacy, which, I haven't gone as far as Alexa or Google Assist in my home, but the Siri on my phone, I've gone to that, and it is really, really helping me not get sidetracked and distracted on my device, but making sure that I get the things that are important to me that are floating around in my head, they're being dealt with. So Siri is fabulous for that. Hey Siri, when I'm driving home, any new emails? How many? From who? And Siri will read out just the top 3 emails in my inbox, or what's on my calendar for today, or send an email, Siri, to whoever, saying whatever. Call Donna. So I don't have to, when you're driving, you need to focus on driving. So it'll just call Donna for you. So it can also do things like multiply, hey Siri, multiply 43 by 65. Google this for me. Wake me up in 2 hours. Say you need to wake up and you're going to sleep. It'll just literally set an alarm for you. Set a timer for 2 minutes. You could be going off to do something, but the eggs are on. Hey Siri, set a timer on, and Siri will set up a time alarm, and it'll go off in 2 minutes for you. Schedule an appointment. So say you just got off the phone, you have an appointment with the doctor, but you're in the middle of something else. You can literally say, hey Siri, schedule an appointment in the calendar for this date at this time. So it doesn't go to your head then, it's done. I sound like I'm selling this. I should be in sales, shouldn't I? But I think I'm so passionate about this because I'm one of those people who get very, very distracted very easily, and I find it difficult to focus. So if I go into my phone to do one thing, I'll end up doing 10 things, and I'll come out having not done the one thing I went in to do, which is very frustrating. So this is a great way to manage your device. It reduces distractions and frees up your time for more quality time. It improves literacy skills. So for example, young people, if they have literacy issues or challenges, Siri is great to teach them spellings, it types audio to text. It's fantastic. And also, children with learning difficulties, it's a great way to just do things without, you don't have to have learning difficulty to use this, but if you do, it's great. And it supports executive functioning as well. If you have kids or adults with ADD or something similar, if you're struggling with planning, organizing and managing your time, it's great to just get Siri to start doing things for the person to help support them with their executive functioning. So these are things I learned along the way. So the relationship, just to summarize, because we're coming to the hour, be aware of yourself and your device, the relationship that you have with your own device, because the saying monkey see, monkey do. Kids will they'll do 1% of what you say, but 100% of what you do. So if you're agreeing rules with them to do one thing, but you're doing it yourself, children will perceive that as being extremely unfair. So be mindful of that and your own relationship with your device. Be aware of it. Your kids will be quick to call you out anyway. Discuss rules and quality time online. Like I said, talk to them about it. Why, when, how long, what for? Benefits, quality time, spend time together online. Device-free meal times, no devices are allowed at our table. And it promotes the art of conversation and to learn about what happens with everyone else during the day. And even, having everyone sitting at the table can be a challenge some evenings. Screen-free days. It can be a struggle at the start, but I promise you, it can be enjoyable. And young people, they may moan at the start, but they enjoy it too. You might have green versus screen time. The green time versus screen time, these are just ideas for you to help you as well. Try different things. You'll find your own, groove and what works well in your family. These are just ideas. I wouldn't recommend devices in the bedroom. If your kids, you're struggling to get them out of the bedroom, then talk to them, involve them in the conversation. Involve them in the conversation in such a way that you're explaining to them what your worry is, your concern, the dangers, the importance of sleep, their mental health. Kids that are online an awful lot more have an increased level of, let me call this out, really interesting. I read this out earlier and I thought it was very interesting. Kids who spend a lot of time online have a higher risk of being overweight, obese. Teens who have moderate social media use have better mental health. Like these are facts. This is information based on research, and sharing that with young people, you're not making it up. Heavier use can lead to a greater risk of anxiety and depression, a sense of loneliness, and anxiety. So these are the things to share and talk to them about, and involve them in the solution. It can be there's a concern. I've noticed your mood, your form. We need to take it out. What can we do here? So, and devices an hour before bed, like I said, out, unless a Kindle helps them in a couple of minutes to switch off and go to sleep. Sometimes devices can wire people up and keep them awake half the night. So a Kindle can keep a person up half the night, or it can switch them off. So it depends on your young person and what a Kindle does for them, or it could be the old-fashioned book. And then you merge that with the supportive tech tools like I showed you earlier, on the iOS device. You've got your screen time apps, whether it be Family Link, Microsoft helping you manage your screen time, or the iOS screen time as well. It manages what they see, for how long they see it, and who they can talk to. And, the settings are in all apps and games, and I would advise always go into the settings. Any app you download, go straight to settings, set them up, and have a look at previous webinar recordings too. I go into more detail on how to do that. Your screens give off a blue light, and it can be harmful to your eyes if you're on it a lot. Melatonin is a natural occurring chemical in the brain. At nighttime, you start yawning, you start feeling tired, you're stretching. It's your melatonin telling your body it's time for sleep soon. The blue light on your device can reduce the amount of melatonin being secreted in your brain, which means if you're on your device, you get more and more awake. It's like drinking coffee. And that means then that you can't sleep. And, if you look at what's happening with teens as well, they're having difficulty with finding it harder to fall asleep, not sleeping for as long, and the quality of sleep isn't great. So this is all really important and tied in. These are blue, they're called loads of different things, right? They can be called anything from blue light filtering glasses to blue light blocking glasses, blue light glasses. You can get them anywhere. You can get them in Tiger, only a couple of euros. But you can see the glare, you see the blue, the filter there. If I'm on my screen all day long, it's helping protect your eyes from that glare, and there's no harm in them. So again, talking to kids about these are important as well, and what the blue light means. Notifications, teens are always using it for homework. Turn off your notifications when you're doing your homework. Put on the do not disturb sign. So when you're doing your homework, your phone, your tablet isn't buzzing, you can focus on your homework. And Siri, Google Assist, Alexa, like I said, I'm sold on it. It's revolutionized my world and helping me organize my day, and my device is not managing me anymore. And learn new things. Do it every week. Do it with your kids. Learn something new every week. I can't but recommend Cyber Academy for kids from the ages of 7 to 10. It's on our website, it's free. We have 10 episodes. We've already got 7. There's a new episode on kindness, tackling cyberbullying. It's coming out in 2 weeks' time. But they're all just appear on our website. Just go to the Cyber Academy on trendmicro.com/internet safety. And, you know, there's some really good stuff in there. Each episode has a video. So in the Time Online one, for example, this is the fun, colorful animated video. It's 3-4 minutes long. And then there's a conversation guide, kind of questions you can talk to your kids about after watching the video with them, or the teacher can do it in class. And the answers are there as well. There's like 10 good questions in there about managing your time online. And then there's a quiz. And this is just fun quiz for them to, another way to reinforce what they've learned, and, you know, getting them to really think about the time that they spend online. And the last thing then is the activity sheet that you can print off and they can actually engage in. And it's great for them to, you know, research has shown that journaling from a young age or self-reflective activities really helps reinforce that message from a young age in this context about their time online and how they spend it. So that's the website down the bottom. But if you just go to trendmicro.com internet safety, you'll see the Cyber Academy and click on that link. These are all the episodes. This one is the most recent Time Online. The Healthy Habits one is another one I'd recommend, but they're all really good. And these 3 are the next 3, the final ones to come out over the next few weeks: kindness, media literacy, and safety settings. So there's 10 of them there. Each takes about 10-15 minutes. And some really good opportunity for good conversation with young people, 7 to 10, and older too, depending on the kids. You know your own kids. So just in relation to more resources for you, on the Internet Safety website, when you hang up, you'll be redirected to our website anyway, and you'll be asked to provide some feedback in the feedback form. And I'd love to get your feedback on other topics that you'd like me to cover in the future. But these are, if you go to the webinars section, on the events section, you have my webinars, right? But on the webinars section, the webinars piece of the website, all of these have been done. If you are looking to know more about Xbox, or we hosted a webinar with the Xbox safety team, Dr. Rich, that red one there, tips for setting new screen time rules. He has some amazing information in more depth as well. So, you know, next time you're going for a walk, plug it in and off for a walk, and it's great to listen to. And the digitalwellnesslab.org has some great assets and digital wellness guide. And these are just some interesting blogs, right? What to do when your teen seems to prefer spending time online than with their friends and family. So say you're going to a family dinner and you want to engage your child in conversation, yet they're more interested in their device. How do you tackle that? So some really good stuff in there for you to look at. And for anyone who would like to be in to win maximum security. So this is Trend Micro, our cybersecurity experts. Maximum security is for 5 devices for 1 year, and it protects your device from malware. It also has password manager, and it protects your device from viruses, basically, and a lot more in there. If you'd like to be in with a chance to win this, I give 5 out usually on every webinar. Just put your email address somewhere in the comment box at the bottom. And once we select a winner, the 5 winners, we will then delete your email. We do not use your email for anything. We will delete that email then afterwards. We just wanted to tell you you've won, if you've won. But you don't have to, only if you're interested in it. And please do fill out the feedback form. So that's the session over. And you know, there's a lot to cover, and it's difficult to gauge, you know, the audience that we have, and, you know, different parents may have different things, the questions that they have to ask. So that's why we get the webinar and the presentation over for the first hour, because some parents may wish to hang up at this stage. So for those of you about to hang up, you know, please do remember to stay in touch. This recording will be up on our website in the future by the end of this week on the events page, and we have a whole load more information there as well. And you can always contact us on the website. I'll get your message. So we're always here for anything you need. And thank you so much for joining. Really appreciate your time. An hour is a long time on a Monday night of Easter holiday week. I know what it's like. So thank you for your time. I can see people sending me their email addresses, so I presume you want a copy of the webinar recording. I'll send that to you. Thank you so much. Don't send your email address to everyone, just send it to the host and panelists. You don't want to be sending that to everyone. So thank you for that. I think that's it. What I'm going to do now is just see if there's any questions. And let's see how do I respond if a child comes home and says everyone has a mobile in class and they also want one. I feel your pain. I have the exact same problem or challenge. Let's not call it a problem. So my daughter is 11. She's been asking me for a phone since she was about 7. And my 15-year-old doesn't have a phone yet. Imagine, he doesn't want one. His iPad does it for him. He's grand. In fact, I need him to have a phone so that if I'm late picking him up, I can ring him and tell him, but he doesn't want it. So I'm working on it. Hopefully he'll get one in the next week or two. And we'll take it from there. But she wants a phone. And, you know, I think the important thing here is for you to be in touch with your child's friends' parents and their close friends, and ask those parents, have they got a device? Have they got a phone? You know, thank you for all of the lovely messages coming in, for those of you hanging up. And if you have any questions, just give me a shout. But just going back to that question, I talk to the parents of your child's friends first and ask them, do they have phones? Because I'm not saying your child is going to tell porkies or little white lies, but maybe everyone in the class doesn't have a phone. Or, you know, they all have Snapchat. Maybe they don't all have Snapchat. Maybe they're just using the Snapchat on their parents' mobile device now and again under the supervision of a parent. But to the person in the classroom, like my daughter, she just hears they're all on Snapchat and I'm not. So what I've done is I've talked to her about, look, I'm not ready for you to have Snapchat. I'm going to be very honest with you. Tell me why you want it. And she explains that she wants it so that she can chat to her friends, because that's where they all are. And it can be excluding that they're all on it and she's not. Now, she does have Skype to chat to her friends. She does chat to them on Roblox. She does chat to them on Fortnite games and so on. And they have a group for the class that they chat to each other too. And, you know, I do check in on all of those, and it's important that we as parents, depending on their age, obviously, but you need to just check in now and again, and that they know you do that, you know, because that's part of the rules that we've agreed with you, with getting this device and you getting this app. You know, it's based on trust and, you know, check in on them. But it's a hard conversation to have. And, you know, I always think of what Dr. Coleman said. Do we as parents, are we afraid to say no sometimes? And I said at the start of this webinar session, you know, the answer may be no at the end of it, but listening to why they want it, what they'd use it for, and how they feel about not getting it, and listening and acknowledging their feelings, and then explaining to them why you feel so strongly about them not having it. And, you know, it's important that kids feel heard, that they feel acknowledged and listened to. And the answer might still be no, and you'll revisit it again in 3 months' time again. And, you know, it's based on trust and relationship and all of that. And it's not easy conversation, but if you feel your child is too young, you know, our job as parents and guardians is their safekeeping, their privacy, their security, online and offline. So you know best for your child. You may not be ready if you're like me. And it's not easy for her. She wants it, but and I've explained to her why, and she still wants it, and she still says no, or I still say no, I'm not ready. I just don't feel. But let's look at it again in a couple of months' time. And you know, kids do need boundaries. They will be online forevermore. We did a webinar, or not a webinar, a live event in the US in Boston about 3 years ago, and we had a panel discussion with teens and young kids. And the teens were on the panel on the stage and the kids were in the audience up to 12. And they were saying, why can't I get this? Will you talk to my mom? My mom, I want to go on these apps and my mom won't let me. And the teenagers said, I can't believe I'm saying this, but once you get your mobile phone, once you get those apps, you will be on it forever. And it's always there. And enjoy your childhood. This is what 17-year-olds were saying. They actually said they felt old saying this to young kids, but that they had been on that journey from 10 through 17 and they knew what it felt like. Hold on to your childhood, enjoy your childhood. You will get those when your parents feel it's the right time for you. Don't be jumping into it just yet. And it takes courage for parents to just say, no, and here's why, but I hear what you're saying and I feel really sorry. And I'm, is there anything else we can do? Like, we can extend the time you have on Skype or whatever, great tools. Or maybe play dates, or if you want to go to the cinema and hang out with them and go for a chocolate afterwards or whatever, make different compromise, look at different things you could do, but that they hear that they're being heard. They feel that they're being heard, they're being listened to. I hope that answers your question. It was an anonymous question, but I would definitely check in with the other parents as well and agree rules as soon as you can, in the 6th class or whatever. We'll all agree, or maybe there's a policy in your school that does that anyway, which can be helpful. But your own child, what's right for your own child, and you make that decision with them and let them feel heard. I hope that answers it. Paul, I have an Android. My wife has an Apple device. Is there any family app that will allow both of us to control our child's device? I don't know if your child has an Android, Mihal, or an iOS device. If your child has an Android device, Mihal, if you're on the line still, you were there about 10 minutes, 20 minutes ago. If your iOS, right? Okay, so your wife has an Apple device, obviously she'll be able to set up screen time with your child's iOS device and manage it all. I have searched left, right, and center. I constantly search because I'm thinking, like, Google Family Link is available on the iOS to download and on the Google Store. Like, why isn't there the other way around? And it's not there. There is a way though, but I think you have to pay for it, and it's called Family Screen Time app. But if you Google family screen time apps that are compatible with both iOS and Android, you will get them. But to download them, you have to pay for them. But if you want that comfort and you want that access between both of you, then it might be an option for you. So there are apps out there, but unfortunately, the iOS screen time app is not available to download on your Android Play Store. Sorry about that. But I keep checking because I'm thinking it has to appear at some stage. Mihal, I hope that answers your question for you. But it's fantastic. I wouldn't go past it. And it's a great way to teach your kids, even teens that I work with, they use the screen time themselves to manage their own time online. And that's what you want, that they're self-regulating, managing their own time. When they get to 18, 19, 20, they're all over it. They're managing their day. They know what their 24 hours looks like and how busy they're going to be, and off they go. My daughter has an Apple phone and I have an Android. How do I monitor and set limits? Thanks. So same question, just from a different person. So you'd have to, because you've Android, you can't download the screen time app from your onto your Android. You'd have to go into your child's iPhone and go to screen time and set it up, but lock it with a password so that your child cannot change all the settings that you've in there. But go through the settings with them, like I said, and talk to them about the various things and agree rules with them, depending on their age, Oh, she's 13. So yeah, agree it with them. I mean, they're 13, like they're adults, aren't they? They want to be treated like adults. So it's all about the relationship, building trust, being honest with them, open conversations, and agreeing rules together. I hope that answers your question, Colette. And Suzanne, do I need to set up email accounts for my children in order to set up family link? Yes. So they need their own, and it says that. So if you just go into Google and put in Google Family, it'll explain how to set up Google Family, and it'll explain about Family Link. And you have to have your own Gmail account and your child. And if they're under the age of 13, you have to authorize that Gmail account on their behalf. And they, all the privacy stuff, it'll give it all to you. But setting up that account, and then you're able to link the two of them together. I set up the only tablet we have using my own personal email address. So yes, you need Family Link on the device to manage it. Yeah, I hope that answered your question, Suzanne. I don't know if it did. Does anybody else have any questions? It's very hard to gauge, am I too detailed, or have I gone too far in some area or not too far in others? Like the questions that I said I'd answer at the start were, how long and at what age? So not to, unless they're on your lap talking to family, they shouldn't be online. Again, in moderation. 2 to 5, no more than 2 hours. And again, moderation and quality time with someone, keeping them in your eye, chats, family chats, things like that. And from 5 up, then it gets a bit trickier, and you know your own child, so you gauge how long and what's appropriate for them. How do I avoid turning a time online into the forbidden fruit? It's the relationship. It's agreeing rules with them. It's not getting so hung up on the tech tools, loosening them up the older they get. It shouldn't be about the amount of time. It should be about what they're doing. How do I get devices out of the bedroom? Talked about that too. Talk to them again, the relationship. Talk about the problem, what you've observed, or maybe you've observed nothing, but you don't want it in their rooms anymore. You're the parent again. Not an easy conversation, but if you feel strongly about it, have the conversation, listen to what they have to say, and come to an agreement with them. What's the right age for a phone? There is none. There is none. It's up to you and how well you know your child, and if you feel they're ready for it. They may be 10, 11, 12, 13, 15. It depends on the child. And, some parents, they may be separated. And it's really important for a child at a young age to have a device. As simple as that. But again, a device is a powerful tool and needs to be respected. Therefore, the conversation has to come with it, and the rules, and agreed consequences too. Just remember about confiscating devices, to be careful of that one. And they're all the questions that I said at the start, and I've answered them. There's another question: how to keep kids off social media. Depends on what age they're. So what I'm hearing is that your kids are on social media. So that means they've downloaded the app and they've been allowed to use it. It's very hard to take something off them when they've been given it, like the horse is bolted. But if you're asking, they're on it, you've no problem with them using it, but you want them to be more conscious of not being on it so much. That's a different conversation. It's about talking about screen time depending on their age. If they're under 12, set up the screen time with them, talk it through with them. If they're over 12, 13, tell them to set it up, show them how, do it together, and talk about quality time online and what they're doing. And like those things I said earlier, kids who spend a lot of time online have a higher risk of being overweight and obese. The importance of sleep, exercise, healthy eating. Teens who have moderate social media use have better mental health. Simple as that. Heavier use can lead to a greater risk of anxiety and depression. Talking to kids about things like that. And, mental health is a really important area, and, the internet can be a great tool to promote their mental well-being. There are great platforms for young people to engage with others on common ground, especially helping each other understand themselves better, if they're in their teenage years and they're exploring different things and trying to figure themselves out. They could be worried about relationships, the environment, they have learning difficulties. The list is endless. They may have special needs, they want to learn more. There are also amazing meditation apps that they can use, and screen time management tools like I've talked about. So again, for the person who came in with this question, I would say, how do you keep them off social media? How do you keep them off YouTube? How to keep them off TikTok? Find something that they love that's not online. It's not turn that off, it's turn something else on. So I mentioned archery a couple of times. My daughter loves it. So I'll just say, come on, let's go off down to the woods through the archery, and off we go. No, I can't do that when I'm working. But, it's finding ways to get them offline in a way that you're presenting something to them that they're really interested in, and they're happy to throw the device down and off with you. So whatever that is, it's their currency. So you need to figure that out. Can't do it all the time, but the importance of exercise, the importance of sports, the importance of family gatherings, going out for a cup of tea with them, going for a walk with the dog, whatever it is, just making sure that that's an important piece of the conversation you have with children. I hope that answers your question. The question came in anonymous. How do you keep them off? Again, if they're under 12, the tools and the conversation, talk to them. If they want it, again, remember the minimum age is 13. Apps, once you sign in and accept, you can look at my previous webinar recordings. Once they accept, once you download an app and you accept the terms and conditions you're now allowed to use the app. And what that means is that app is collecting your data. It's looking at everything that you're doing, saying, liking, commenting on, searching, downloading. It's all being looked at and used for sales and marketing purposes. And you'll be targeted with that afterwards. You own everything, but you're allowing them, through accepting the terms and conditions, to do whatever they want with your information. So that's a really important conversation to have with young people, that, if they want TikTok and they're 10, 11, and, talk about that. Everything, even if you delete something on a social network because you posted a video and you shouldn't have, and you delete it, it's still there. It's stored on the server, and they can see Avril posted that video today on this date at this time, and then 4 days later Avril deleted that, and here are all the comments. So there's a record of it. There's a digital footprint, and it's really important to explain that to kids. And even in the terms and conditions, if you go even further, it's the length of a roll, a toilet roll. But for anyone who'd be interested in reading, the Snapchat terms and conditions are actually easy. As in, they've taken the legal terms out of it, delegalized it. And they basically say that in a court of law, if they're requested, they will hand over everything. So just because you delete something, for example, it doesn't mean it's gone. It's always there. And people can take screenshots as well. So I think, under 12, 13, there's some really good conversation to have with kids about why you don't really feel comfortable with them having it. You can go down the terms and conditions route, the privacy, the data that's been gathered on everything you do and anything you do. Or you can literally just talk about content and what they're exposed to, and the people they're exposed to, and people lie about who they are. And the internet is a powerful tool. It needs to be respected. And when you're the right age, we will do it. But let's compromise and do something else that I can help you with. I hope that answers your question. That was the last question. I think that's it. Ella, there's no more questions coming in. No. And Suzanne just finished there. If it's okay with you, we might just stop the spot. No, we better not stop the spotlighting. Based on earlier, people didn't see. Thank you everyone for joining. And this recording, anyone who's joined today, we have your email address. I'll send you out the webinar recording. If you're interested in any particular webinar, let me know. And I might have done it, and I'll certainly schedule one. The next one I'll probably do will be in September, back to school. But everything I've done in the last 3 webinars is on our website. And please don't forget the Cyber Academy. It's fantastic for kids and adults of all ages. Grandparents love them. So please use it. It's free. It's there for you. And it's in loads of different languages too. It's in Polish. It's in Italian. It's in Spanish, Mexican, Chinese. So remember, they're there, and we're working on about 10 more languages. I'll have it in Irish by the end of the year, I promise. So thank you so much, Ella. I really hope I didn't speak too fast. I get carried away sometimes. And thank you, Suzanne, so much for your time. I hope, Louise, and many more, that you don't feel as daunted. There's no major science to this. It just sounds like it's a mad, crazy thing. But, you know, just remember the relationship, the tech tools, and quality over quantity time online. And if you forget anything in between, you can always watch this recording back, or you can check our website with loads of stuff on it, or contact me. Thank you so much, everyone. Take care. Mil buenas. Thank you, Ella. Thanks, Suzanne.
Thank you, Avril. Bye-bye.